Hi everybody, welcome back to Mondays with Mike. So a lot of people move to Long Island from New York City or move to Long Island and work in New York City. Either way, if you need to commute every day, there are two ways to do it basically. You can take your car and you can drive west with everybody else, or you hop on the Long Island Railroad. If you ask any Long Island resident who's taken the Long Island Railroad for a long period of time, you'll probably see a grimace, and if you hear anything at all, probably won't be anything nice. However, it is an incredibly efficient system considering the size of it. It actually services 7 to 8 million people a day and brings them back and forth. If you look at the on-time rate, and again, this is where a lot of long-time commuters are going to say, no, that's impossible. They boast a 90% on-time rating. I'm getting these from the MTA's website, by the way. You can fact check me on this. I encourage you to do so. Typically, that means the train can be up to 6 minutes late. I often use that excuse when I'm late for every appointment that I make. So that's one thing to bear in mind. The other thing to bear in mind is that obviously that number is going to come way down. It's going to get dragged down by the big delays. You do occasionally have incredible delays where trains are canceled, people are packed into Penn Station, and you have trouble getting home. But by and large, for a system this big, it's still a great commuter rail system, and I'm not being paid by the MTA to say this. So a few tips. If you're looking to take the train from wherever you're going to buy, there are a few different zones. Queens, you've got zones 1 and 3. That's the cheapest rate. Nassau is covered by zones 4 and 7. It's going to be a little bit more expensive depending on which one of those zones you're in. And then Suffolk border out to the Forks, there are actually 4 different zones. So the closer you are, and depending on what zone you're in, that's going to determine what kind of a ticket you can buy. And if you buy a house in an area that has a lot of railroad stations, I'm thinking Garden City, New Hyde Park, that cluster in the middle of Nassau County, Mineola, you can kind of pick and choose from a lot of different train schedules. So one of the benefits to being right in the middle of the island like that is it's a hub, and for the same monthly pass or ticket price, you can jump from train to train. Just remember where your car is. And again, we're just going to go through a few tips. Would love to make a second video about this if people have other tips. I have a feeling we'll have a lot of people, giving their thoughts on this one. But keep in mind that the parking situation is typically determined by the town that you're in. So if you're in town of Hempstead, for example, you may have to get a sticker to park in most of the spots. There are little quirks. Belmore Station, I'm thinking of, for example, you can park under the trestle because it's an elevated track without the sticker, even though everybody else around you needs one. So I'm not going to go through every one of those little things, but somebody who's knowledgeable about the areas who's taking you around, they can point you in the right direction. A lot of it you can figure out just from talking to neighbors or other people who commute. And you can look up how long it takes to get to Penn Station or Atlantic Terminal in Brooklyn if you just use the MTA website. All right, so again, not plugging the MTA, not bashing them. It's a very important consideration for anybody who moves to Long Island and still works in New York City or Brooklyn. So figured I don't think we've ever covered this topic. Would love to get back into it. Please comment or direct message us, and we'll see you next week.